Okay, so let's start up with the introduction and how you got started.
Hi, my name is Michelle Inouchi, and I'm here to talk about my art. I was very lucky to be born into a family of artists. My grandfather was a painter and a cartoonist. My uncle is a really great painter and photographer. And at a really early age, they gave me brushes and paint and showed me how to mix colors and that sort of thing. And I started painting right off the bat and basically haven't stopped. So it's been a really great, wonderful, wonderful experience to be an artist because it helps me see things in everyday life.
Stop for a second. Okay. Still running. Okay, so let's go on. And you mentioned that quite a few years ago that you had spent a year in Africa or some time.
Yes, I spent a year with a Berber tribe and very close to the Sahara Desert, on the outskirts basically, in Morocco. And it was a tribe of only about 50 people. And my children and I stayed with a family who had 11 children, and I had 3. It was a lot of kids. And they taught me a lot of things about art.
Okay, so was there images in the African environment that kind of influenced you in some of your work at that time?
The desert is an amazing place that can teach you a lot about life, and of course art being a big part of my life. I always looked for the images that inspired me. So the desert has a lot of clean lines. There's not a lot of clutter on the desert. Later, I painted memories of Morocco and tried to reinvent that line and space dynamic.
Okay, and then a few years later, some point in time, you spent, what did you say, 3 years in Mexico?
Yes, that was cumulative, including many trips, but mostly in the Yucatan, Chiapas, and Oaxaca. And there I explored Mayan ruins and was able to exercise the inspiration that I obtained from seeing that. And basically, in both places, what I learned was that the people who don't have anything often lead very happy lives.
Okay, and I think you mentioned at some point that you were also involved with the Kuchar brothers in movies.
Yes, when I was at the San Francisco Art Institute, I met George Kuchar and then Mike Kuchar and worked with them on about 6 movies, and we even went on location up in the Puget Sound for a movie, and I was so inspired by the spontaneous nature that especially George Kuchar endeavored to produce his films with that spontaneity.
Okay, and then you went to the San Francisco Art Institute. Were there some teachers there that, particularly impressed you?
Yes, I was really, really lucky. I studied with some wonderful painters. Diebenkorn was a major influence when I first started there, and then later Tom Holland, William Wiley. I've just been very, very lucky with all my teachers.
Okay, and then in terms of your thought process when you're organizing work, what kind of stuff goes into that?
Well, usually there's a major influence that initiates a body of work. It could be based on landscapes, it could be based on an experience I've had, it could be something that basically wells up from within. And I try not to clutter that initial response so that the work that comes out is spontaneous and continues to be creative. I find that if I decide something about a painting, that usually I've already ruined it if I stick with that decision. So I try to remain open to the possibilities and open to the dynamics of looking at the creative space and staying with that.
You seem to have a Japanese last name. Was there some influences from that that came into your work?
Yes, I was married to a Japanese man, Arthur Inouchi, for about 14 years, and I visited his parents in Hawaii and visited a Buddhist temple, a Zen Buddhist temple, and I saw the simplicity of the Japanese culture, and I've always admired that very, very much, and endeavored to try to incorporate that kind of sensibility into my work and into my life.
So there was you got some exposure to the Zen kind of thing. Is that a significant part of your thought process now?
Basically, I've been a student of Tibetan Buddhism for about 25 years after the initial exposure to Zen Buddhism. I have to say I'm a pretty poor student, but I have incorporated the concept of emptiness, although I don't know much about it, as a goal. So as to be uncluttered with my thought process, because when I began a painting, if that painting falls short, it's going to be because I've adopted a concept and I can't get rid of it, and that's usually a mistake. So the study of Tibetan Buddhism, Zen Buddhism, those have been very, very influential in my artwork.
When we visited your studio during Open Studios, I was very almost shocked by some of the current work. I mean, what kind of thought process is going on, behind that? What's inspiring your current series?
This is a narrative based on seeing this recent San Francisco Opera production of The Magic Flute, where the sets were designed by Jun Kaneko, a fabulous, fabulous designer who did the digital sets, and they were so unique and so inspirational in their clean lines, vibrant colors, and movement. So I tried to incorporate some of that into my work. And you could say I was influenced by Jun Kaneko, and I hope that I honor him in this work.
Some people who paint are terrified of a blank canvas. Do you find yourself to be one of those?
Not too much. Usually I have an idea before I start the work, and although I try not to be too rigid about that because it could change, however, when I see a blank canvas, I just see opportunities and I just can't wait to get started.
You mentioned, I think, that you somehow Qigong, you do some Qigong and that comes into your working method?
Yes, I try to employ movement while I'm painting, and that helps me not get stuck in a certain thought process. When I started the series Jazz Jam, I used a very long bamboo pole with a brush on the end of it. And I actually did the Qigong as I began the painting. So it was a type of movement-oriented thing. So I would get the lines and the design of the work in a spontaneous manner. I continue to study Tai Chi, Qigong a lot.
Okay, and looking forward from here, are there some thoughts and kind of concepts or visions or whatever that you think you want to put into your work?
Basically, I would love to simplify my work. And it's really hard because like I said, I see the painting before I start it, and I see a lot of it. So it's edit, 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 and I would like to be simple and solidified also, so that the image is resolved, and that would be great.
Okay, any other issues from the list of questions that you'd like to comment on?
Well, the social implications of doing artwork and what it means to do artwork of any kind in this time. For a very long time I've been obsessed with the fact that we as a species and as a planet are evolving. Some people would say devolving, but to me it's changes. Rapid transformation is the name of one of my shows, and that series of work was based on the fact that we're changing so quickly. Who knows what we're going to evolve to be? It could be half animal, half human. It could be this, or it could be that. But basically, we live in such dynamic times that I think it's very interesting, and I can't help but comment on it.
Okay, I think